Welcome back to the Stephan Show. My name is Graham and welcome to my show. And as you can see here, we've got a very big day today. And with a big day comes a big cup of coffee because it is my personal mission to go and review and watch every single episode of, wait for it, Millennial Money. And as of right now, surprisingly, there are 4 episodes that exist on the internet that I have not yet watched. And this is one of them, believe it or not, posted all the way back on August 21st, 2018. And that means this video has been perfectly preserved here on the internet without me yet yelling at it and critiquing it. And the best thing really about these older episodes is that they were filmed prior to the Stephan Show even existing, which means this is just like really raw millennial money, just as you would find it in its natural habitat of the world, I guess. So anyway, without further ado, let's see how she lives on $50K a year in New York City. Wait for it, Millennial Money.
I graduated high school, I went to college, I took out student loans thinking that was the right thing to do, and that's what you did to get ahead in life, and that was a huge mistake that no one told me was a mistake.
You know what, I really think there's gotta be a vigilante out there or someone just to shake some sense into some of these high school kids and be like, yo, okay, you're about to go to college and spend $250,000 on a 4-year bachelor's degree on basket weaving, and that's a bad idea because basket weaving only pays $20,000 a year. So maybe you shouldn't spend all that money on a degree that you're just not going to get a return for. I really think the whole financial education system in America is just screwed. And it seems like we really just have this completely backwards thinking idea that you got to go to college and that that's the only way to end up making money, and it's just this whole flawed system. And secondly, what is she doing here? Is she just taking a picture of these cookies she just made while this other guy just sits there watching her? And he has this look on his face just like, oh no, this again. I just got to sit here, wait for her to finish it, and then we'll move on.
I was a full-time copy editor at New York Magazine for about 6 years, and I was about to turn 30, and I realized that I wanted to be a writer and pursue that full-time, and I wanted to work in food, and I decided it was my last chance to make a rash decision in my life when I was 29.
You know what, my thinking is honestly, if you're gonna do it, it's better to do it sooner than later. It seems like she doesn't have a big family to support, she doesn't have an expensive mortgage, and if she's going to go that route, she may as well do it. And that way, if it doesn't work out and she needs to go back to doing whatever she was doing beforehand, it's not the end of the world and it's not gonna set her back that much. I don't know how much she's spending, but anyway, my advice for anyone out there, if you're thinking about pursuing something that's maybe a little bit more risky, it's better to do it sooner than later. Just get it out of the way, try it, and then at least you don't have any regrets about trying it. Unless, of course, you're thinking about doing the infinite money glitch on Robinhood, in which case I don't recommend you ever do that because that is a bad idea. Don't do that.
And so I did it. I quit, I cashed out my 401k.
Oh, but she cashed out a 401k. That's one of the things that I never recommend anyone cash out a 401k for any reason other than that it's a huge emergency. Like, you really gotta be like about to be on the streets before I will say, okay, you know what, maybe then it's a good idea to cash out on the 401k, because ideally she could have just worked here a little bit longer, saved up a little bit more of a nest egg, instead of cashing out the 401k, paying taxes on it, and then paying a 10% penalty. But anyway, what's done is done. It's just for anyone out there thinking about cashing out a 401k, just don't cash out a 401k. Just don't do that. All right, so $1,000 a month for a portion of a Brooklyn apartment, I think is pretty fair, especially on $50,000 a year. Again, I really don't know if this is gross or net income on this. Let's just assume, I don't know, let's assume it's gross. I'm really kind of confused on that one. But anyway, $1,000 a month, regardless if it's gross or net, I think is pretty fair. Whoa, okay, we got a lot of expenses here. So $150 a month for her iPhone. You realize it's like, that's a car payment. She could be making a car payment for the price of an iPhone. Now, I'm curious though if the cost of this is like the iPhone on an installment plan plus data and phone cover, like everything else on top of that, plus like what else could she be paying for that's $150 a month? like Apple coverage or like the Genius, whatever thing. I don't know. That's way too much money. $250 a month on student loans. You know, what's done is done, right? So we can't fix that. $1,000 a month on food for her and her partner. Now, if she's a food editorialist, then maybe she might be able to claim that is a business tax write-off and part of her making money. So if that's the case, and she's just like $1,000 a month, and I get to write it off, and I get to enjoy a lot of great food, then maybe I could swallow that idea. Pun intended, because it's food. Get it? Food, swallow the... Okay, anyway, so I could get that. And then $15 a month for gym membership. You know what, I can't criticize anyone for their gym membership anymore. I pay $220 a month for Equinox. They raised my prices. So basically, if someone's spending under $220 a month, I can't criticize them because otherwise I would be a hypocrite. But if they spend more than $220 a month, then I have it out for them.
I've definitely learned that I care more about my quality of life than the quality of my bank account.
But then, you know, I'm looking at this, $24.15 a month in total expenses, including rent, is not that bad. Okay, she could be saving a lot more than I have a feeling she's saving, like significantly more if she just cut down on the food and maybe the iPhone. But regardless, even if it's just this, it's not terrible, okay? I've seen a lot worse, seen a lot better, but I've seen a lot worse.
When I talk to people who might be miserable in their full-time jobs, I do feel a little bit better about my choices to be so unstable and have such an unpredictable life.
You know what, here's the thing, as much as I could critique someone for not saving as much money as they possibly can, you also gotta respect someone for really figuring out what they want in life and what's important and then going for it. Even if that means they're not gonna save 99% of their income, I think if they're happy with those decisions and they feel good about them, then by all means. So I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea that because she's not saving, I think she sounds very happy with this decision, and I'm all for it, because I do think that's important, and someone's happiness and quality of life, can't really put a price tag on that. And sometimes you can, because my quality of life is basically the cost of 20 cents right here.
My 401k, because I've always worked in media and in magazines, was so paltry that I think I left with $7,000 after like 6 years. Because there was no matching. I was putting in the minimum amount because I was in my 20s and I didn't know what I was doing, and I was just like, I need my money. Basically, it bought me some time to be a writer. That's why I cashed it out.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I would have liked for her to have contributed more money to the 401k, but you just don't know any better. I would say even a lot of my friends who have like 401k matching, they're like, no, I don't want to do 401k matching. I'm like, I don't, like, you really have to like explain it to them about how 401k matching is always free money. And a lot of people just, they don't know about it. Their employer is never gonna be like, guys, you're stupid if you don't take 401k matching because it's free money. Do you guys want free money? Yes? Just check this little box here that says 401k matching. Employers are never gonna do that. They kind of leave it up to you to figure it out on your own, which I think is a shame. But, you know, I can't blame her for that. It's just nobody knows about it. So for all of you guys watching it, now you know about it. Go see if your employer offers a 401k match. If they do, just always contribute to the maximum. It is 100% free money. Even if you decide the next year to cash it out in its entirety, you are still getting more free money than if you didn't do that. So just always say yes to free money, and then also never say no to 2 free stocks from Webull when you deposit $100 on their platform. And now they're doing a limited time offer where in addition to giving you 2 free stocks with one of the stocks valued up to $1,000, they're gonna give you a $5 gift card. Link down below in the description, and that is pretty much just as good as 401k matching.
Whatever is left over gets saved. My bank, I do automatically have transfers from my checking account to my savings account every month, which is like, it does $150 a month automatically. And that's great because I don't like thinking about money.
You know, I would really like to see her flip that around. Instead of saying that whatever money is left over, she is going to save, I would rather her say, I'm going to spend whatever is left over after savings. This way, she doesn't have to think about anything, and no matter what, like $300 a month is going to be going to savings, and then she'll figure out how to live off the rest. And trust me, you always figure out a way to make it work. When you're really pushed in a corner, if she's like $150 short one month for something, she'll find a way to make that up in something else, and it will work out. So that's always my recommendation. Save first, spend after.
This is Meatless, a podcast about eating. I'm Alicia Kennedy, a food and drink writer. I'll be having conversations with chefs and writers about how their personal and political beliefs determine whether or not they eat meat. The show will ask the question, how do identity, culture, economics, and history affect a diet?
You know, in terms of her doing all of this pretty inexpensively, I gotta say she's doing a phenomenal job at being able to do it. I don't know how much money something like that would really make, you know, but I think if it's something you enjoy and you know, even if it just breaks even, but yeah, you have so much fun doing that, I think that's what really matters. As long as you just do, as long as you don't lose any money. That's my thing. I'm happy until you lose money. Once you lose money, I get sad. You know, it breaks my heart to see just good money being wasted over something.
My first year as a freelancer, I was completely shocked by how much I owed in taxes. I owed about $5,000 and I hadn't predicted that.
Oh, what I would give right now just to owe $5,000 in taxes. Those were the days. Really, those are the days. You have no idea. Like, I look back a few years ago, and I remember a few years ago just being so sick about how much money I paid in taxes, and now I would just give anything to pay that in tax. I'm gonna make a video about how much I'm gonna pay in taxes this year because it is so high. It could literally buy a house here in Los Angeles, and that's the amount of money I'm paying in taxes this year. But regardless, okay. So not to downplay what she's paying here. Because here's the thing: no one tells you about taxes, especially when you're a freelancer, because there are so many additional taxes they tack onto you, like self-employment tax. One of those things. You have Medicare and Social Security taxes that get kind of grouped together in one. So you pay a little bit more in taxes because you act as both the employer and the employee. So you know it comes as a shocking surprise when you file your tax return and be like, wow, I owe much more than I expected. It happens.
People don't like to talk about money because it's uncomfortable on either end of the spectrum.
You know what? My honest opinion is that the whole stigma about talking about money and keeping it a secret is changing. And it seems like now, really over the last, I want to say, few years, a lot of that, I think, is evolving and turning into people are more likely to talk about it and bring it up. And I think it's now starting to be cool to be financially literate and to save money. I don't know if that's just me being weird because I think it's cool, or if it's actually cool. I don't know, but regardless, I think it's cool, and I think more people are finding it cool as well. How many times have I said cool? Way too many now. But anyway, I think this whole stigma is outdated. Maybe this is like an older generational thing. Just don't talk about money. It's weird. I think now we're coming into an era where people are going to be completely open about how much money they're making, how much money they're saving, and we could really progress as a society of figuring out, you know what, we don't need to buy this, let's save it instead, let's go and invest it. And you know, I think that's great for everyone to be more open about it. You know, we can use ourselves as an example, and just we all are more open about it, and that'll cause other people to be more open about it, and so on.
I should be much more conscious of how I am going out and spending money. Because I write about food and develop recipes and all sorts of things, like I'll go to the farmer's market and I can spend $30 on mushrooms. That's not a good way to spend money, but that's how I spend money because that's what's important to me.
You know, if this were any other channel and they said that they spend $30 on mushrooms, you might have a little bit of a different idea of what's going on. But with this, you understand she's getting edible mushrooms. Not those edible mushrooms. She's getting like actual mushrooms. I don't even know. Let's stop there.
I've learned to not be afraid of money and to be honest with myself about how much I have, how much I owe, and how I can go about making myself more comfortable with that knowledge.
Woo! Another episode done of, wait for it, Millennial Money. And this means there's only 3 more episodes left that I have not yet seen that I will be reviewing. So overall on this episode, here are my thoughts. You know, I find it funny, like Jerry Springer at the end of his episodes will always have like Jerry's final thought, where he goes over and says something really insightful about the whole situation, and you really have something to take away from it. And yes, as a kid, what I would do is I used to love watching Jerry Springer. What would happen was that if I had a sick day home from school, I maybe was between the ages of like 9 and 14 or whatever, I'd have a sick day home from school, and always Jerry Springer would be playing at like 11 o'clock in the morning. I would never have a chance to watch it unless I had the day off from school. So I'd sit there and watch Jerry Springer. I don't know why. I was strange like that. So anyway, this is my version of the final thought. You know, it seems like she's made a lot of progress over the last few years in terms of learning about financial literacy and saving more money. And my biggest criticism of all of this, I mean, ideally, you wouldn't have cashed out the 401k. You know, but let's let bygones be bygones. And in terms of what she's doing, I'm always about like, how could you better monetize something? Because I see what she's doing here, and I'm thinking, well, why don't you start a YouTube channel focused around vegan cooking or like minimalist cooking or something like this? I think that would be a hit. And then you could also like maybe sell some of the recipes or find other ways to monetize the channel and get sponsorship. Like there's so many different avenues you could take even as a chef. Whereas I think, you know, podcasts are significantly more difficult to even get traction about, especially on a niche topic. So I'm always thinking to myself, how could she make more money? But anyway, I'm happy for her. It seems like she's got her priorities at least lined up in terms of what she wants to do. And maybe she thought like, oh, she's off the hook. She's not going to be critiqued by me. But no, everyone on Millennial Money will be critiqued and confronted by me. We're going to be going through all of them. So we have 3 more left. Expect to see those over the next month. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, if you have not already destroyed the like button, do that really quickly for the YouTube algorithm. It helps it a lot. Also, make sure to subscribe. Hit the notification bell so YouTube notifies you anytime I post a video. Also, feel free to add me on Instagram. I post there pretty much daily, so if you want to be a part of it there, feel free to be a part of it there. And lastly, if you guys do want those 2 free stocks from Webull plus a free $5 gift card, and one of those stocks, by the way, is worth up to $1,000, just use the link down below for Webull, deposit $100. It's basically very similar to Robinhood. It's a free stock trading platform, except now you get 2 free stocks and a $5 gift card instead of just 1 stock on Robinhood. So anyway, with that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time.